mature audiences only. Altitude adjustment may contain language content that some may find offensive. Your discretion is advised. Welcome to Altitude Adjustment. So I forgot to update that graphic. But this week's show is going to be about transsexual athletes. Good afternoon. I'm Leon Davis. Joining me is my co-host, Warren Harper, and Leonard Davis. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, but I can't see you.
You cannot see me. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Uh-huh.
You're having some video issues. I know why. You should be able to see me now.
Gotcha.
Man, so I had to restart OBS because I thought I was having audio issues.
Okay.
So anyway, so this week we're going to be talking about transsexual athletes, and we're anticipating a pretty lively discussion. So make sure you're here to join us. So today we were going to talk about. We had a couple of items that we can make an hour's show out of that are current issues that we thought we would cover. So we're going to let Warren start first, or did you want to cede to Leonard first, or did you want to go ahead and start with your issue?
No, go ahead on, Leonard. I'm not sure I have an issue.
Black Lives Matter. You didn't change. You didn't want to do Black Lives Matter?
Well, I thought we were going to wait on that.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead, Leonard. What was the something you wanted to a chip that you wanted to get off of your shoulder? Can't hear you, Leonard. Leonard, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
We heard him firing before. What happened?
I don't know. I don't know. Did you change something, Leonard? You didn't change anything? Hold on. Okay. Try reconnecting and see if that fixes it for us. And then just log off, come back on, and then I'll do some fill until you get back. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, well, I don't want to talk about anything until he comes back. There he goes. It took him a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea why his audio went squirrely on us.
I don't know. I got a couple propositions we can discuss when we get off this, but yeah. So anyway, since he's going, Black Lives Matter. I just got one thing that's kind of concerning me, and I want to talk to somebody about it to get an official comment on it. Is that do they have a problem with black men? Because, like I said, that flyer I showed you, they listed about 9 different groups of people: black women, black humpbacks, black midgets, black gays, and for some reason, black men was off the list. So,
okay.
What's up with that?
So you're back with us, Leonard?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Very good. Very good. All righty. So, Warren just mentioned Black Lives Matter, and he thought he said they had a list of people that Black Lives Matter was protecting under their umbrella, and he says black men were not on that list of protected classes of people, and he's got a chip on his shoulder about that, and he wants to get that off.
Question, like what's up?
I understand. So I'm gonna let Leonard go, and then we'll circle back to Black Lives Matter, because I've got an additional something to add to that that Black Lives Matter. So there was something that you had that you wanted to discuss today, Leonard. His audio.
Trump.
Oh, there we go. Huh?
The audio went again.
Yeah, it came in. We're okay now. Go ahead.
In dealing with Trump, I found that all it takes is both houses of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, to get a majority vote, and they could strip away all of his retirement, such as funding an office for him, funding office staff, his travel allowance of $1 million, his wife's travel allowance of $600,000, and his $150,000 or $250,000 pension that he gets a year. And it's not subject to Mitch McConnell and his minority veto. I forgot the name of it right this second. They could pull up a point and just do that, and it doesn't require him getting convicted of after his oh God, I forgot all the terms now.
Impeachment.
They could do that. They could do that in spite of him having charges against him.
Okay. Okay. So your point is that the Senate or the legislative branch has the tools that they can use to strip Donald Trump of all his presidential benefits.
Yes.
Okay.
They can.
Right. And so that's your issue, is that you believe he should be stripped of all of his presidential benefits.
I believe he should. It was obvious in watching the impeachment hearings that he brought the violence of January the 6th, that he was behind it. He and his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. You were never going to get a conviction in the Senate because the Republicans have enough to filibuster it. And you needed 2/3 majority. You weren't going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
So the Democrats in there can do it, but the problem is you got two conservative Democrats, Joe Manchin, and I forgot the woman's name from Arizona, who told the Democrats they won't vote with them to get rid of the filibuster. And I'm sure they won't vote with him to strip Trump of all his presidential benefits, even though he tried to pull an insurrection against the country.
Okay. Did you want to comment first, Warren?
No. I mean, Trump. I prefer to just leave Trump in the background and not worry about him right now. He lost the election, regardless of what he tells people, and we just need to move forward with the Democratic agenda, whatever that is. That's what I'm focusing on. And the more we talk about Trump, the more less chance he's going to go away.
Okay. So for me, the situation that I think Leonard is addressing is because we believe that Trump has done something nefarious, that we should take action against him. And as a country of laws, if you can't prove, so there was a Senate trial. I mean, there was a House trial, the impeachment, and then there was the Senate, which did not indict. So regardless of what the House said, The Senate says we don't see enough here to remove this person from office and to indict him on charges of misdemeanors and high crimes. So now, because there is a way to go after Trump and remove him of all of his presidential benefits, to me, smacks of taking a second bite at the apple. Because I couldn't prove that he did wrong, because I couldn't get the other side to agree with me, then I'm going to go around the other side to get what I want. Mm-hmm. And that's not democracy. That's just plain not democracy, or it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Yes, you can win your case in a criminal court and then lose your case in a civil court. That to me is two bites at the same apple. Because one has a higher standard of evidence than the other, which basically says, if I don't agree with the ruling that I got in one case, then I'll go get it in another case where I don't have to be as stringent on my rules. And that basically says, if I'm bitter, I can continue to be bitter and go after somebody. Donald Trump, whatever you think of Donald Trump, whatever you think of what the Senate did, whatever you think of the people in the Senate, he did not get indicted in the Senate. And so to go after him and all of his benefits after that smacks of using the system to get what you want. It may be because you get your way against Donald Trump. Let's say they do take away his benefits. What happens if they decide to go after Obama's benefits using the exact same tactic? See, it may work in your favor in one case, but doing that, you have to keep in mind, may work against you in another case.
Absolutely.
So I'm not for that.
That's the chance you take, but when it's a thing of when you have the power, use it. Such as the Senate, while it was before the election, while it was under Republican rule, there was a thing that they had to have a super majority to put judges on the federal. The Republicans took away the super majority because they had the votes. They took away the super majority to put benches on the court, and they put the benches that they chose on the court. Not just the Supreme Court, but there was other federal courts that Donald Trump chose to elect. So when you look at something that's political, because the trial that he was under was a political process. He was indicted. That was an impeachment. You bring charges and you're indicted. Okay, and the House did that. Now you go to the so-called trial in the Senate. And that's where you found, okay, we're going to remove you from office or not. Now, irregardless of what these Republicans kept saying is not constitutional or whatever, there was history of us removing somebody after they was out of office. And there was one guy back in the 1800s who resigned his federal office to keep from being removed, but they kept that trial going, and he was removed anyway. He was prohibited from holding other federal office. And Leon, you and I have had this discussion before a few times. Just because we got Republicans that'll do it, don't mean the Democrats should do it. And take whatever you believe on that portion, on that argument, whatever. I'm just saying, as you said, we're a nation of laws and rules. That law and that rule is put in place for a situation like this, and it is another place for them to do it. I didn't say that. I didn't say they have to do it, but this is a place, and they will not be out of law. They will not be out of rule to do it. So now, if you want to go, you can do that. Just like the Republicans now are mad that Trump lost and that they lost some seats in the Senate. So they're going back to all these states. There's over 240 rules that Republicans are putting in to get their way with voting. They don't want to change their ideas to win more people. They just say, okay, if you don't like our ideas, we'll make sure you can't vote, and we'll take away your vote. Now, we got all kinds of rules that allows for us to have votes, but the Republicans are going back and using the rules and changing laws to take that away. So when you bring that into play, you never know how far that's going to go.
Did you want to say something, Warren?
Well, I mean, I understand the point you're making, Leonard, but at the end of the day, you know, partisan politics is where we are. It's not going to change. This is where we are now. You know, we got one side over here that's doing everything they can to suppress votes and so they can win, and then you got the other side just trying to figure out how to deal with it. And I don't have the answer. All most of us regular citizens can do is vote.
So
Yeah.
So our
You can lobby, you can contribute money, but
so our government, our sense of government is premised on the goodness of the people running or serving in the government. That means if you are an honest person, if you are a person of character, if you are a person of fiber, if you are a person determined to seek out the truth and justice, that our government should work that way.
yeah,
So when it does not, when we have people who excused the behavior of a president who did not, we should hold our president to the highest standard of ethical and moral behavior because they have so much power that it's easy to trample the rights and privileges of people in society when they do not exhibit the highest level of moral fiber and truth and justice. By using dirty tactics against dirty tactics does not level the playing field. Two wrongs don't make a right, and I don't care how you try to square that. Wrong is wrong. And if you don't have the moral fiber to take the high ground, you have brought our politics to its lowest form. That means do anything to win. So the Republicans that are doing things believing that they're saving the vote and realizing that potentially what they're doing can disenfranchise other citizens. And they ignore that disenfranchisement to their advantage. And then you go back and I don't want to point the finger at you specifically, but anyone that goes and uses that logic and repeats that behavior is not leveling the playing field. All they're doing is making sure that our politics reaches the bottom of what democracy should be. Donald Trump was the epitome of the worst president I have ever seen. He did not want to live up to the highest standard. He did not want to be above reproach. He did not want to be the best, to bring America up so that we reach our best selves. But to become bitter, to become angry, to become like him means he wins. Means that ignorance and anger and frustration is the best that we can be as human beings and as Americans. So, yes, there are rules in place that we can use to take Donald Trump's presidential dowry. But using those means that we lower ourselves, that we don't reach for the best in us. You guys know how I feel about AOC. AOC, the right has demonized her, has talked about her poorly, has, just smeared her name. And what did she do when Texas got hurt? She stepped up. She said, what is important is that we reach and be our better selves. And that's what she strove to be. She didn't strove to be bitter or angry or let Texas fall because the legislature in Texas talked bad about her. Trump should have been indicted. Trump should have been removed from office. Trump should be the example of what we don't want our president to be.
He should have been.
But we don't have enough Americans in the right places to make that happen. So the best thing that we can do is move on. Because the longer that we linger in that, the more we're wallowing in what Trump is. Trump's making noise like he wants to run again.
Yeah, he may.
That's the most horrible thing that, I ain't gonna say the most horrible, but that's one of the most horrible things I can think of to happen to our society.
I think if he runs again, he's got a good chance of winning.
And maybe he will.
I think
That
if
just,
Maybe he will.
he runs again, he will win.
and
He
that's just,
will win.
that means that's where our
Because
society is.
he done sold so many people on why he should win. He done sold so many people on the big lie. And then, it's going to turn. It's going to turn with what he did. And like you said, we don't have enough Americans in the places we need to stop him. He's gonna come back and bring that back. And this time, right won't win out. And until so many of us are already dead, so many of us are already done, so many of us have already been disenfranchised that we won't get the votes to matter. So we can say, okay, we got to be right no matter what. But when you let things like that and people like that go and have their way, it doesn't turn out good. So America is just taking its turn, like Nazi Germany, like Russia is right now. So it's just America's turn to fall, and that's what that is. Because if he gets our way, people like the three of us won't get our shot at voting no more. So within the next 2 to 4 years, we won't be able to vote because they'll be able to steal it away from us using laws.
We only recently achieved the right to vote.
And they're going to take it back away from you.
And that's what they're trying to do.
Because the reason why they're coming after your vote.
Give me an example personally for you, Leonard, of how they can stop you from voting.
If they go and they say, if they go and they say, we can take your vote because we don't accept who you are. They're taking people's vote because they don't have the right, uh, don't have the right ID.
Or they
Which they're
eliminate mail-in
doing.
voting.
Coming back,
By
they're
eliminating
coming
mail-
back. They're coming back and taking people's voting. So it's not that my vote has to be taken, but if enough people that think like me and believe like me are taken, then those of us that are left won't be enough to matter.
But you didn't give me an example of how specifically that they can take it.
Can I give us an example?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mail-in voting. There are some people that cannot physically make it to the polling place, and
True.
mail-in voting is the only way that they can vote. Eliminate mail-in voting, their vote, they can't vote.
Right. So
And I haven't never voted this year because of the pandemic.
you just have to figure out
I should never voted
figure out a way to get those people to the poll.
So I guess I'm not sure what you're saying. So what you're saying is they cannot stop you from voting?
No, I'm saying is if they stop mail-in voting, then it's going to be up to other people to make sure that those people that don't have transportation or whatever, or that have certain physical disabilities or whatever the problem may be, to get those that can be taken to the polls.
Okay, so I'm not. So I think you're looking for a
I
solution.
understand what
Go ahead, Leonard.
I understand what you're saying, Warren.
Mhm.
But see, in other parts of the countries, they've solved those things, and the Republicans going after those things in law. Like, for instance, in North Carolina, they had their souls to the polls, where the blacks were leaving churches and going in church buses to the polls.
Mhm.
They want to stop Sunday voting now. They are telling you, well, if you want to vote in Georgia, what they're trying to do, you got to mail in two copies of two forms of ID to get your vote in place. They're going by, like in Illinois, if you go to get your driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote at the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Okay.
Well, in states that do that, the Republicans are pushing now to stop that thing. So everything that was used to get there, they're pushing to stop. And they're making it by law and making it legal. See, in Missouri, you don't get automatic voter registration. You got to go fill it out and sign.
Right.
In Illinois, I got it. When I first changed my vehicles to Illinois registration, I was registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I believe, I'm just in general, and it's not necessarily about right or wrong. I'm just in general. I vote against anyone or anything that believe in taking away people's right to vote. Like I never did vote a few years ago for this propositions they had 1, 2, 3, 4 in St. Louis, where they wanted to take away certain cities' vote. They tried to make the mayor like a king, like he is in Chicago. Well, no, I believe that if you want to do something in St. Louis, you should have to go to the mayor and go to the other people. Mm-hmm. The mayors will love it because it means that they get more power. But they tried to take away voters, and they want to go through just one person instead of going through 3 or 4 different people. I'm just not in favor of taking away people's right to vote. In this country, too many people have fought and shed their blood so that everybody can have the right to vote. And majority win. That's why I don't like the Electoral College. Because you're trying to give a state like Rhode Island the same thing you give a state like California. And it's not good. And right now, if we didn't have the Electoral College, January the 6th wouldn't have happened. Trump wouldn't have tried to overturn all these different states' elections. And that's the first thing that Republicans always said: the states have rights, states' elections, states need to run. But they showed you that in certain states, in certain areas of certain states, we don't like the way they voted, so we need to take that away. That's what they're doing in Arizona. Arizona putting up a law that says, trying to pass a law that says, if you, no matter how you vote, if the Republican Party, without saying the Republican Party, don't like your vote, they can come back and take it away from you and send their own slate of electors up to D.C. And I believe that, Electoral College caused all that. And somebody sat there and thought, well, with the Electoral College, if we do this, if we do that, we can get away with it. And and like you say, when they make things to get people's vote down, you got to make law that make it harder for them to vote, to steal votes, and to steal everything. But that's just my opinion.
All right. So that issue went like all over the place. So were we done with it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really.
like,
Because you wanted to.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?
There was a couple of other issues we wanted to get to, so I was done with it.
Okay. All right. So I was going to circle back to Black Lives Matter, because Warren has been just beating my brains out about Black Lives Matter. You have
exaggerating a little bit, brother.
You have been. I have such a headache. If I hear Black Lives Matter one more friggin' time,
Come on
I
now,
am
man.
gonna puke. So Black Lives Matter. All right. So maybe I am exaggerating
A little bit.
a little bit.
What you got?
So Black Lives Matter. So I was watching a video of Ted Cruz talking about some of the issues that Black Lives Matter was putting forth, and one of the issues was they were attacking the nuclear family. They wanted to end the white racist nuclear family. They wanted to protest or boycott businesses, boycott white businesses in favor of black businesses. So you had mentioned the nuclear family issue a couple of times previously.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to Black Lives Matter's website, and I have never been able to find any one of those things on Black Lives Matter's website. Now, I'm not saying that they weren't there. It's quite possible that that they were on there and that they changed them. But whenever I hear that, so when you told me about it, when I saw the clip from Ted Cruz, I immediately went to Black Lives Matter website. Now, I'm thinking there may be an alternate Black Lives Matter website someplace. Maybe I'm on the wrong internet. But I didn't see any of that stuff.
I think that it's probably been updated and
Okay.
removed. That's my guess.
Okay. So you at this point think that Black Lives Matter is rudderless. They're basically all over the place, trying to find issues that they want to cover because what? They have no direction?
No, I didn't say that at all.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that.
Uh-huh.
If I made that statement and that's what came across, it is my apology. I apologize. I did not mean to assign that to you. So I'm asking the question: do you feel that they're rudderless?
No. I think they do a lot of good work, and I support a lot of the things that they do. I'm just curious when I pull that poster up, and I don't know if I can find it again, where they listed all of those different groups of black people. women, LGBTQ plus. It was a bunch of groups, and for some reason I couldn't find black men, but you had black women. So I'm just wondering why would they leave black men out?
Okay. Um, so my thought to you and Ted Cruz is, maybe you guys were putting BLM, or maybe you guys were seeing some spam. Sometimes people create stuff to give false statistics and make you see that an organization is bad when they really aren't bad. Because Ted Cruz pointed out that supposedly Black Lives Matter was trying to encourage people to not support white-owned businesses, and companies that were supporting them were Amazon, Google, Microsoft, extremely white-owned corporations. They have problems in hiring minorities, and yet they're supporting Black Lives Matter. And my thought is, why would they support Black Lives Matter if Black Lives Matter was saying don't support them as a company? So I don't know if Ted Cruz is getting good information, or if he's getting somebody's doctored videos.
Well, when you tell me the name Ted Cruz, when you tell me Ted Cruz, I know you're talking about a man that's a bunch of lies. And when he supported the former guy, as our current president calls him, he supported a man that talked about Ted Cruz's wife and called her ugly.
I understand all that. Keep it to Black Lives Matter.
And Ted Cruz, okay, what I'm saying is, in relation to Black Lives Matter, when Ted Cruz is saying that they did something wrong, I give it no merit, because he's bootlicking someone who talked about his family.
Okay.
And
alrighty. So
Ted Cruz, and remember, with Black Lives Matter, they started their big campaigns off with rallying out against the first one that they made their public bones and got publicity for, against what happened with the boy Michael Johnson over here in Ferguson. And their big thing was stopping police from killing Black citizens, especially unarmed Black men. And that's something that they still do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, great work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's
an article here.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me see. Let me check the source. All right, I'm not sure about this source though. New York Post.
That's a large paper in New York. Yes.
Okay. Here's the headline. BLM site removes page on nuclear family structure amid NFL vets criticism. This is dated September 24th, 2020.
Very good. I'll have to look that up. I'm not saying that the New York Post can't be duped like any organization. We can be duped because we're depending on the integrity of someone else in our society, and that's so what Leonard was talking about earlier, as far as Donald Trump and his presidential dowry. One of the things that I say about the government is that to be a better society, we depend on the integrity of the guy standing next to us. If the person standing next to us has no integrity, then it doesn't matter if I have a lot of integrity, because I'm depending on some of the information that he or she is giving me. So if our news people don't have integrity, then they're going to give us information that's integrity-less, that is going to influence us to make bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So the New York Post, I am presuming that integrity matters for them. I'm presuming that integrity matters for them, and that I hope that our politicians, that integrity matters to them, that our citizens, just everyday citizens that go to the store, that integrity matters to them. So every time I see a situation like Mitch McConnell, I firmly do not believe integrity matters to that man. So I am suspect.
Can't argue with that.
I am
It's not wrong to think.
right. I am suspect whenever he says or does something, because of that. But he is elected, and he's been there for, I don't know, years, 30, 40 years, being that person that he is. So there are a number of integrity-less senators and representatives. But I'm not going to be integrity-less because they are. My integrity matters to me. If I say something, I want you to know that my word means something to me. And I don't do it to win. I do it to be the best person that I can be. And I'll take a loss before I'll give up my integrity. Because to me, winning isn't about beating somebody. It is about citizens being the best that they can possibly be. Because we're human, we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because we're human, we're going to fail. Because one day you'll wake up and you'll be feeling great and you'll slip a little bit. You won't double check that fact when you really should have, because you trusted the person that gave you the fact. And then you find out that the person that's been giving you the fact hasn't been honest and forthright. And now your integrity is being challenged because you didn't vet that information well enough. And that happens. And so some days you're going to be on top of the world, and some days the world is going to be on top of you. But for me, every day that I get up, I'm going to make sure that I am on top of the world and that I do the best to be the best. Alrighty. So we're going to do one more, and that's mine. And mine is a local issue.
Okay.
St. Louis recently had its mayoral primary, and they used a new system for St. Louis called approval voting. In approval voting, and it was also nonpartisan, which I'm like this is awesome. This is friggin' awesome. So
how does that differ from ranked choice?
It basically is ranked choice.
Okay.
It basically is the exact same thing. You get to vote for as many candidates. You can vote for every candidate in the race. You can vote for no candidate in the race or something in between. And then what they do is they count up the number of times a person's name shows up on a ballot, and then the highest two vote getters move on to the general.
To the runoff.
Right, to the general election, the general runoff. So, and to make things better, no party affiliation is mentioned. Nowhere. So you have no idea which party the person works for. even if they're even connected to a party.
Right.
So now that there's pluses and minuses to both of those.
Right. Right.
So like if you don't have name recognition and people didn't spend a lot of time understanding your voting preferences, and they don't know that you're a Democrat, they could actually wind up voting for a Republican and not know it when they wanted to vote Democratic. And this race actually included something that I thought, brings that into focus. So there were 4 people in the St. Louis City mayoral race: Tashira Jones, Kara Spencer, what was his name? Louis Reed, and this Andrew Jones. Tashira Jones is a Democrat. Andrew Jones is the lone Republican. Now, I don't know if he ran simply because he's going to take advantage of the Jones name, because Tashira was pretty popular. And there are some people who might, oh, Jones, yeah. Yeah, this is Jones. Yeah, check. You know what I'm saying? So it's quite possible that he was trying to take. So there are benefits and possible pitfalls to this. But I really, so I got a chance to participate. I loved it. Now the report was that up to 40% or more picked more than one choice. So it was pretty popular with most of the people that went out there. And then there's the aspect, well, they don't know who to vote for, so they vote for 2 or 3 people, hoping that they get a right one. So it's quite possible. But Tashira Jones got 57% of the vote. Kara Spencer, Tashira Jones is
Vervis Jones' daughter.
Right, she's Vervis Jones' daughter, but she's also currently she holds a position in the government. Huh?
License collector, I think.
I thought it was treasurer.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. It was a higher office than license collector. So anyway,
Right.
And then here's the other one. So Louis Reed has been in St. Louis politics for, I don't know, 20 so years, and he's been elected and reelected Board of Aldermen,
President of the
Board of Aldermen. Now, Louis Reed has a reputation. I think he has a reputation. Now, he was one of the people who went after the very popular Kim Gardner. So I found it interesting that he thought he was going to get elected mayor. He wound up in 3rd place. Okay, and this is like, I don't know, the 2nd or 3rd time he's gotten smoked. Okay, let me use a different term. Let me be more politically correct here. So he's, he keeps running. I don't know when he's going to get the message. Maybe he figures he'll outlast everybody. Just at some point, people will just stop running because they're tired of being mayor, and then he'll get elected. And that's not going to get me on his good side, but I really don't give a rat's ass. But he so he wound up in 3rd place. I wanted to talk about the ranked choice voting before I got off on being a butt, and I thought it was excellent. I'm looking forward to it being used more often. The one thing that I do want to say is I think we can make our elections shorter And instead of having a primary, we just have a ranked choice election, eliminate the
Absolutely.
primary, right? And then whoever wins.
Be a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper, right? You don't have to have two voting days. So like March the 2nd was the primary day, and then April the 5th or April the 6th is election day. So we can eliminate that primary day, eliminate all the necessary costs associated with it. Yeah, I think this was a good thing. Somebody's going to have sour grapes over it, and they're probably going to push. This was horrible. Let's get rid of it.
I wonder if that might be for the county soon.
That'd be interesting. I think since you're going to be running for county president,
Councilman, maybe.
councilman, maybe. I think since you're going to be running for county president, that maybe you ought to look into that. That they implement that when you run.
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Was there anything else?
Okay. So when's the general
April the 6th.
or the runoff?
The general of April 6th. The election.
Oh, okay. So
the-
there's the county. Okay, so county has election day too. Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't. Is there an election going on April the 6th in the county?
Yeah. Mostly different districts and stuff. Nothing major,
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So there's all of these small dates, and when people are trying to put food on the table, all of those election days start to eat into the time that they have, just general life. So anything that we can do to cut out that.
Yeah.
Because they said for this presidential election, the mayoral race was down 11,000 votes in this recent primary on March the 2nd. Also,
It's down. It was down 11,000 in the city. You mean?
right, in the city, there were 11,000 less votes in the mayoral primary than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, COVID related, probably, but
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
but down 11,000. And two more points I want to make real quick before I get out of here. Lyda Crewson was the first female mayor in the city of St. Louis. The next
Right.
mayor of St. Louis will also be a female. It will either be Tashira Jones or Kara Spencer. And another point I wanted to make, I thought was interesting. Kara Spencer is a part of the. She's a member of the
Board of Aldermen.
Board of Aldermen. She was a member of the Board of Aldermen. The president, she got more votes than the president of the Board of Aldermen. I think that says something. Now, don't know exactly what.
He might be in trouble the next time his president board comes up for it.
I don't know. He might be protected. I think I don't want to say he's reached his potential in city elections, but it's just, when one member of your board got more votes for mayor than you did, I think you have to really search and say, why?
Exactly.
Anything else, gentlemen?
That's it for me.
That's it for me.
All right, we're going to take this commercial
The
break.
link in the chat.
Huh?
I sent that link in the chat.
Cool. I'll look at it later. So coming up on Saturday, 2 o'clock Central Time, make sure you join us for transsexual athletes. It proves to be a barn burner. We do hope you come and join. I would love to hear any comments or comments or compliments or whatever on the subject. I think it's an interesting event occurrence in our society right now, and it has broader implications than just that. So make sure you join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, gentlemen, and then we will see you tomorrow.
All right. See you
I know
tomorrow.
you care about the
Bye-bye.
environment, and maybe you want to learn more about sustainability and climate action. Then join me on the Climate Conscious podcast, where my guests and I discuss the issues of sustainability related to the Caribbean and beyond. Together, we'll explore practical solutions for managing our impact on the planet. Tune in every other Wednesday on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow me on Instagram at The Climate Conscious.
Welcome to the So-Called Oreos podcast,
a podcast where Kia, Amari,
Rachel,
and Janae
discuss all the awkwardness, hardship, and hilarity that comes along with society labeling you white on the inside and black on the outside, also known as an Oreo.
trying to mind my business and be black. That's basically about it.
Through intimate conversation and candid interviews, we discuss everything from quote-unquote talking white.
You talk the way, which I guess is supposed to be like you talk proper, and I usually think black people sound ghetto and uneducated. That's how I perceive when you say you talk so
What,
white.
you mean you don't speak Cubanics?
Traveling while black.
It opened my eyes to a lot of just the small privileges Americans have, and then it also opened my eyes to, as a person of color, how difficult it may be to go to another country. It was just a lot of blatant racism.
Dating as a black woman.
There's just something about the black woman who just really wants to support and see the black man thrive. And even if I'm not in a relationship with a black man, I'm still like
Gonna root for them.
I'm still rooting
I'm always
for
gonna
them.
root for you.
Yeah, I'm always.
And a whole lot more.
I just love being black.
So join us every other Tuesday for intellectual and funny conversations that will make you embrace your inner Oreo.
I'ma light your shit on fire. That's
I'm gonna tell your mama.
What's up? What if
Roberta, yo, son cheated on me.
But you know, some mama be like, well, that's what men do, so why you surprised?
Exactly.
No.
Old timey bullshit. I ain't having it.
That's not okay.
Experience Altitude Adjustment, a weekly podcast about people, politics, and professions. It's built around user interaction, so join the conversation by visiting thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home.